Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. The coming stock market and crypto crash while silver and then gold go much, much higher. We'll see lots more flooding, as I predicted. Probably a hurricane coming into the Gulf of America soon, and then headed for New Orleans. So we're going to see a lot of that going forward because there's lots of stuff coming off the sun. Earthquake activities up, super volcano possibly going off in Campo Figliere, maybe even in the Pacific, with probably a quake and tsunami in Japan, like been predicted. We're going to see a lot of stuff going on. So let's jump in. Let's talk about it. All right. So many things are happening on our planet right now. As consciousness rises, so sometimes does the negative things. And we're going to look at, kind of what goes on when markets go down and earthquakes happen. So now looking at the USGS magnitude 2 plus 2.5 or greater over the past day, if we go out into Indonesia, we see 6.7. First, it was a 7, then they downgraded 6.7. And then just today, right across the pond, the Pacific pond, we have a fairly significant earthquake in Panama too. Panama, love that area, beautiful area. Have good memories of the Panama invasion. Well, good and bad. But 6.2 in Panama. And if we just move around the coast over here in between, Japan and Russia, you have 5.8 in that area where there's a massive earthquake that's predicted, and then off the Kamchatka in Russia, 5.0, and it just keeps going around and around. It comes down here to where I think we're going to get a fairly significant earthquake somewhere in California, possibly off the coast, probably on the coast. But I think we're going to see some kind of tsunami, and so I'm predicting it's probably going to be off the coast, maybe up here around Oregon, California area. So I would just keep an eye on those things and see how they shape up, moving forward. So what plans you make will be determined by your own intuition and by your own consciousness, where you think you're going to be safe. Is your intuition strong? Right. Check out my courses, Unleashing Intuition courses. All right. So Grand Canyon fire. The North Rim is gone. So within the larger, earth changes that are coming on, we're also going to see manipulation by the deep state guys. All right. So they have these different high-tech, capabilities where they can ramp up this stuff because they're just crazy psychopaths out there having fun, killing people, right? Causing destruction. That's what they do. They've been doing it for a long time, and they're going to continue to do it. They think that maybe they can have an effect and stay in power, but that's one of those consciousness things where as we rise in consciousness, as the earth rises in consciousness, and they decrease out of existence, they're going to fight on the way out. This happens every time there is massive revolutions, consciousness change, whatever, throughout history. You're going to see these changes, right? And you're going to see the existing power structure collapse as we're seeing right now. That's why I'm predicting also we're going to probably see a very massive collapse in the stock market and crypto. All right. Crypto manipulated for a long time. I'll go into deep about that. All right. Grand Canyon fire. North Rim is gone. Like I said, let's look at that. Very tragic. The old lodge there on the Grand Canyon Rim. I remember going there, beautiful, beautiful lodge, and it is now gone. Of course, you see what doesn't look like much of a fire there. They're like trying to pawn this off on. That's the reason why the Grand Canyon lodge, right on the rim of the Grand Canyon, burned, right? And there was chlorine gas that was released. So they shut down the entire Grand Canyon. No rafts, no nothing going on. I think there's something else going on because the Grand Canyon is filled with gold. Grand Canyon is filled with gold, and they're in there because the Egyptians knew that. There's Egyptian stuff in the Grand Canyon. We know the Egyptians, look at King Tut's treasure. It's like just so much gold. Where do they get it? Right? They get it from the Grand Canyon because there's incredible, tremendous amounts of gold there. Of course, because we're taking away the ability for the deep state to make money, they're going to do evil things and try and get in there in those gold mines. And there's hundreds of them there in the Grand Canyon. Usually they're quietly getting that stuff out of there, but now they're getting desperate. I think this is one of those things where they just basically gone in there and they just shut everything down so they can get in there and get the gold. I say the White Hat should let them get the gold, and as they bring it out, and just take it from them and then put them in prison. Right? So who knows? Maybe that's what's going to happen.
But the North Rim isn't just a backcountry. It's home to one of the most iconic lodges in the national park system. Along with historic cabins, water facilities, and visitor infrastructure, many are now asking, why wasn't this fire treated as a top priority from the beginning? On July 11th, strong northwest winds caused the fire to breach its original boundaries. That same day, mandatory evacuations were issued. By the next morning, the fire had expanded to an estimated 5,000 acres. Then came the disaster. On the night of July 12th,
so you know how these deep staters like to come in the dead of night, right? All right, so the fire was being contained. There was no worries, and then the deep state bubbas came in with their little toys and made things very nasty.
On 10:30 p.m., the fire rapidly intensified. According to the National Park Service, the fire exhibited extreme and volatile fire behavior, driven by 20-mile-per-hour sustained winds and gusts reaching up to 40 miles per hour. Firefighters made significant efforts to slow the fire's advance under extremely dangerous and fast-changing conditions. Despite aerial bucket drops with helicopters that were conducted near the Grand Canyon Lodge, efforts were hampered by a chlorine gas leak at the water treatment facility. That leak forced firefighting personnel to evacuate.
Wow, I wonder how that happened. Just random. Chlorine gas leak. So chlorine gas is one of those things that was used in World War I. It's devastating to the lungs. I remember when I was a lifeguard, there was chlorine tanks, and we had to use masks to move the chlorine tanks around. If you didn't, I was warned that you could get holes in your lungs. So I used my mask when I changed the tanks.
Zones, leaving limited options to defend the historic district. By the morning of July 13th, officials confirmed what many had feared. The Grand Canyon Lodge was gone. Along with it, between 50 to 80 structures, including.
So these guys don't like history. They want to worship them in the here and now, right? So they're always trying to destroy history. It's very, very crazy, but these are psychopaths. That was an exception, unbelievable lodge. Now, again, when we have the directed energy weapon, I guess probably how this worked out, or maybe they had some of those boxes, those smart meters. I don't know. So, look how this is burned to nothing. This cabin, and look at the trees around it. Where did the fuel for this come from? The same old story. Same old story, guys.
Park Service administrative buildings, cabins, and visitor facilities. 100.
I mean, look at the trees. The trees are green. So obviously there was, and this building right here is burnt to nothing, burning right next to a green tree. There's even green grass there. So where did the fuel, how was it carried? A little spark flew in the wind and landed right on it and burned that building down to nothing.
Of history have been lost. Most importantly, no injuries or fatalities were reported. All staff and residents have been evacuated prior to the fire's most extreme run. As of now, the fire is being managed with a full suppression strategy, and retardant drops are now underway. But they didn't begin until long after the lodge was destroyed. According to the National Park Service,
it didn't happen till long after the lodge was destroyed. Wow. Well, the deep state, when they plan these things, they always have planned talking points, and they have come out. They have come out very quickly. And guess who they're against? Right? The Trump administration. Wow, how about that? California is a Democrat state, so they have been stealing elections from Kari Lake. The governor stole the election from Kari Lake. Senator stole the election from Kari Lake. Arizona can't get any relief. I guess Arizonans can't figure out how to make sure their election system is not rigged and taken over. But until they do, they will continue to have this type of stuff happen to them, and they'll have incredibly poor leadership, which is basically bringing in human trafficking and so forth across their border. All right, so here we go. We have the idiocy, start to come in. So let's scroll down here and see where the idiots start. All right, so we see the fires, see all the green trees, see the fires like we just showed you happening. Lots of rock, green, and then burning to nothing. Right. All right, where are these clowns? I must have passed the clown show. All right, where is it? All right, anyway, they came in and basically started saying that Trump is bad, and they did bad things. I must have been on another one that I had. Dang it. All right, so that's what I saw that earlier, where the governor basically was saying that Trump was bad, and it was because of his activity that they're having these fires. And then the senator, a Democrat senator, the big Kari Lake as well, not legally, not rightfully, but both of them spoke out, and they spoke out against Kari Lake, not Kari Lake, but against Trump. So they had the talking points ready. So they're in there somewhere. I'm not going to look them back up again. Just going to continue. All right. So what else? What is possibly causing this to happen? Well, like I said, the sun is going wacko.
Check this out. Again, this prominence there is very large. So if it stays intact effectively for the next few days, effectively it'll soon be right in this zone, and then it could perhaps destabilize. So it's a possibility. I don't know what the chance of that is, but look at that. I mean, especially near the end of this video, we get that better angle as it's rotating closer in. You see it's really thick and dense, a big plasma filament. It is higher up in the northern hemisphere, but if it was to launch and maybe a little more directed towards the Earth, that could be a big impact. So I'm not betting on it, but it could happen. It very well could happen. Let's go to our USGS portal and look at this earthquake. We also had a magnitude 5.1 in Spain today. So there has been more than just a 6.7, though that is definitely the star of the show. If we go down to Guatemala, this is showing all the earthquakes for the past week, 4.5. You'll see these earthquakes around Volcan de Agua. We're talking about that. They've been having a significant earthquake swarm in and around these volcanoes, basically right between Volcan de Agua and then also this volcano here, which is Pacaya, Volcan de Pacaya. So there's a lot of volcanoes in Guatemala. They're often erupting. We don't really know the eruption history on Volcan de Agua, but the biggest earthquakes were closer to this one. So we're seeing a lot of activity with some of these volcanoes, at least seismically. And if we go over to Spain, we can see our magnitude 5.2 right here. And this gave people a bit of a jolt there. Had some subscribers comment on the channel saying, hey, we just felt the shaking in Spain. So magnitude 5.2, not the biggest earthquake.
So when you have a 5.2 in Europe, because of the formation in Europe, they can seem a lot bigger. In California, everybody yawned to the 5.2, and Indonesia yawned to the 5.2. When it gets up to 7 and more, that's when they start to feel it, and that's what they felt the recent one in Indonesia that I just pointed out. They also felt that one in Indonesia, all the way over in Australia. So that was a pretty deep, shaking. Now this one in Spain is at 10 kilometers down, and we know what runs at 10 kilometers, right? That's the baddies, right? So it is this intensity is going to continue. I just looked up to Katie Hobbs, basically had a statement, and also Ruben Gallego. Both of them are, governor and senator that basically went against or Carrie Lake, and magically won against her. Right? So it is very frustrating to see, Arizona. I lived in Arizona, lived in Sedona, beautiful state. Did all the things all around Arizona, absolutely incredible. Grand Canyon, did a rafting trip Grand Canyon, hiked so much in Sedona. Oh God, so much. And to see Arizona be taken over by these snakes is very sad, very sad. So it has been reported that National Park Service officials initially decided to monitor the fire as a controlled burn, but changed their approach as strong winds allowed the fire to jump multiple containment features, said Gallego, Deep State Puppet Boy, Senator Gallego, and Mark Kelly. So Mark Kelly is another baddie. And so there are many questions over the initial decision to treat this fire as controlled burn. So like I said, it basically, they had their talking points ready. And when this thing was amped up by the deep state, their little puppet boys right there and girl basically, started mouthing off. Right. So that's pretty much the way this works, guys. These guys come in and play their little games. We suffer from them, but it's going to continue until we get rid of them. Right. And I know a lot of people getting frustrated that it's not happening faster, but I think it's moving in the direction that it needs to move into. All right. So Katie Hobbs, of course, had her statement, and she's basically saying that she's very suspicious that they did the right thing too. So the federal government under Trump is being maligned and vilified, of course, by these deep state puppets, and it just makes me yawn. I was like, puts me to sleep, right? Or did they say something? Did they say something? Oh, yeah, I didn't think so either. But soon they will have no more say. All right, volunteer shares heartbreaking father story from Texas flood.
For this, and I've never gone through a pile. I just found the kid's arm. Once that seemed like it was pretty fucking gnarly. But there really wasn't. I didn't really get a backstory to it. But just that brief statement.
Me?
So that's interesting. The reason why I shared that little clip, I'm gonna share another one too. That's very tragic. Is as a remote viewer, you get to see this stuff. Not like you get to see it, but I wanted to know some of the stuff that's going on there in Texas. It's pretty horrific. I think there's deep state stuff involved here that's on a much greater level. Some of these people, I believe, some of these children were seized by deep state people, and organ harvesting, and who knows what else, guys. So when you find pieces of children like that, and I was thinking, how would they hide organ harvesting? And I thought, they would just chop them up and send them downstream. And then I saw this. So very tragic. Again, how much can I vilify the deep state to awaken you, to start to really want to get aggressive with pushing back on them, right? So here's more of this guy basically giving some more insights. Very tragic what happens with this one family.
His commitment is inspiring, and the stories he shared with me are nothing short of devastating.
I definitely don't feel like any disrespect. He told me, and
Yeah.
so yeah, on some level, definitely wanted to share it. But yeah, definitely don't mean any disrespect by repeating what you told me. But chest high, and pretty much just had to like try to get higher in the house. That's when they were trying to figure things out like within like a minute. And so one of the windows broke, and he watched his wife and two daughters get sucked out of the window. And he crawled or like busted through the window himself, like dove through it, and was able to get on top of the roof of his house as it was basically just forcefully removed from the foundation. Then he surfed the roof of the house for a mile or two, and for the first, 15 seconds, he could hear them screaming and stuff. I think they found him down the river. I don't know if it was the next day, but he did make it, and both his daughters and his wife passed away. And so,
All right. So, yeah, very tragic stories. We're just starting to hear them now, and they're going to get more intense, unfortunately. It depends on the news media, too, because the news media is controlling this devastation. So the deep state will come in and devastate an area, and then they'll suppress the news on it. Because if people really saw and knew, like I'm trying to relay to you, all of the things that they have done, there would be such a backlash that there would be some of these people hanging from light poles. All right. So I don't know. Maybe that I've said maybe that comes. Maybe that comes at some point. Of course, Katie Hobbs is saying, I'm incredibly saddened by the destruction of the historic Grand Canyon Lodge, and my heart goes out to every person impacted by the deep state. I mean, the Dragon Bravo fire near the Grand Canyon's North Rim. She kind of slipped there. Yeah, right. She would never, because she knows what would happen if she did. I thank every firefighter and first responder, blah, blah, blah. So an incident of this magnitude demands intense oversight and scrutiny into the federal government's emergency response. So they must first take aggressive action to end the wildfire, prevent further damage. It's kind of hard there, little Katie, when you got somebody like in front of this firestorm, kicking it higher and keeping the winds going and keeping the fire hot. So that's what we're seeing in Arizona. Pretty sad. All these are very sad, but so is the flooding. So we're going to see a lot of flooding. Like I said, more flooding going forward. I said this several days ago, and now it's like every day the flooding seems to be intensifying. This is New York.
Soak the region, overwhelming the ground and storm drains.
Okay, so that's New York, but seems like many states are getting hit right now. Florida is getting hit as another soon-to-be tropical storm into a hurricane comes across it. But let's look at China. Look at this guy on the motorcycle, just barely got through that. Oh my God. Let's go back a little bit on that. That was wicked. So there he is. He's like, he curves, like he gets out of there. I don't think this one makes it. And just revving that little electric scooter. Wow.
Severe rainfall in China causes several landslides along China, especially in Sichuan, from July 8th to 12th. Heavy rainfall across many parts of China led to multiple landslides, with Sichuan province being one of the hardest hit regions. Due to its mountainous terrain, fractured geology, and frequent storms during the summer season, Sichuan is highly prone to
Look at all these heavy equipment trucks. Look how they just get completely buried.
landslides, especially during times of persistent rainfall like this recent event.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. Like I said, getting crazier as we move on. And then more flooding. Yes, more flooding in Texas. So it's getting absurd. Absurd. Look at this rescue. This is crazy. So that guy came out of his window onto the top of his car, SUV, and then this guy's he's pretty slick. It's like boom, boom, slick right over there and right out of there. It's pretty good.
Tragic weekend. Torrential rains returned to central Texas on Sunday morning, triggering new flash flood emergencies, prompting evacuations, and once again halting critical recovery operations. Flash flooding across the region. In response to the rapidly rising waters and hazardous conditions, Colorado Bend State Park was closed for public safety. Road closures throughout San Saba County have been implemented. The town of Ingram, situated approximately 6 miles east of Caraville, reported visible street flooding and expanding pools of standing water resembling swamp.
So that's kind of interesting. So these guys went around the barriers and they come and they confront the flooding. They're like, should I or shouldn't I? Know your vehicle's limitations.
Multiple county roads and low water crossings, such as County Roads 3,300, 2,313, 3,384, and 3,220, were closed due to high water. Highway 190, which spans the Lampasas River at Kempner, was closed.
All right, so more flooding, and more flooding again. So this is Brush Junkie. She does an excellent job. Shown her work before. I don't know how she doesn't have more subscribers. So go over to Brush Junkie and give her subscription. You can't go wrong with her. She's got incredible information. So
I'll be sharing that in the second half of this video. First, I want to show 2 severe floods, one in Boston and one in Chicago. Here's Boston.
Expressway is underwater, and as you can see, several lanes really affected here, and that includes the HOV lane. So please be careful if you have to drive through this area in Milton. Try to avoid that area. Also try to avoid this in Braintree. Granite Avenue closed in Wood Road. This area is flooded. You can see 2 cars there. and it looks like the water really has receded there, which is good news. All right, and here is a clip explaining just how rare this flood is. It's a 1 in 200 year flood, and we're seeing this all over the country and all over the world.
This, what we're looking at here, just how rare this rain event was with how much water we got in this short amount of time. So from top to bottom, we're plotting here the inches of rain. So for Weymouth, this is Weymouth specifically here, 6 inches of rainfall. And then where it's intersecting there, this is the 1 in 200 year event.
Yeah, so basically I chose a 6 hour period, and over that 6 hours, if you get, so we focused in on 6 inches, 6 hours.
All right, so yeah, they go on and they talk about the 1 in 200 plus year flood. Of course, we've seen 1 in 1,000 year floods and 100 year floods, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. Yes, someone asked in the chat, is Texas targeted? Yes, Texas, the whole United States is targeted. They want to take down the United States because we're sassy. We're sassy. We don't like to listen to the deep state. We say, F you, deep state. We're not going to get vaccinated. Well, at least 20% of us. And the rest are not doing it anymore, except for maybe a few, right, are getting vaccinated. That's sad because every time you get vaccinated, it gets worse and worse and worse. So, and more people are like not vaccinating their children. We're moving in the right direction, consciousness wise, right? So people are waking up, bringing their consciousness to a higher level. This is important because as your consciousness goes up and more people's consciousness goes up, it creates a vibrational frequency which begins to not allow negativity to even exist. So that is why the deep state is really taking out all the stops now, guys. They need to create fear, mayhem, destruction on a level that is unbelievable. Now the earth does it in a way that we can read it, we can move, we can take advantage of the signals that come to us. But if we're being dumbed down, which so many people are these days, and we don't trust our intuition, don't even know our intuition, don't even believe that's a thing, then you're in for the destruction. It's coming for you. So yeah, in Ontario, Canada, it's all about getting your measles. They're really pushing it, getting the vaccination for measles. Yeah, because they're really pushing the measles thing and must be making a lot of money on the measles vaccination. So they're saying that the measles outbreak here in the United States, the worst that's been forever. That's ridiculous because they didn't have vaccinations in the past. All the kids got measles. We got measles, right? And you wanted to get measles so you didn't lose your, because if you got it later as a man, it would go to your testes and you become infertile. So at least that's what we were told. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. I didn't want to test that, so I was like, "Oh, I got measles. Oh, good." So, and I was a kid. I was like, "Okay, I got measles. I can have kids someday, whatever that means." All right. I don't even know how to do that, but so, that's good. All right. So that is one of the things they push. They push the fear. They push the mayhem, like we're seeing with all the flooding. People don't know how to respond to it. They think the world's ending. It's not ending. It's changing. Our vibrational frequencies changing. The Earth's vibrational frequencies changing. If you're in tune with the Earth, you'll know where to go. You'll know when to go and come back or maybe not come back, right? So maybe you won't have the option of coming back. You didn't plan beforehand. So you guys know for a couple days now, I've been predicting this hurricane possibility for New Orleans, right? So let's watch. This thing is getting, it's starting to get more real.
Environment. Now, a couple of factors is as soon as this storm system goes further across Florida, the census is that it will tighten up and go on an angle like this. Now, whether it goes on land, goes away, that's one factor. Also, going across the northeastern Gulf, going west, and trying to strengthen up again towards
Louisiana. So the latest updated dig is span all the way across Florida, and it is expected to go across Florida next day or two and still be in the northeastern quadrant of the Gulf by late Tuesday, where environmental conditions appear favorable for some gradual development, everyone. Showing no matter what, we will get tropical depression. Remember, you don't get a name unless it's a storm, if you call it by the name. But showing that we will get that tropical depression and it will go further towards the west. Now, there's a couple of concerning factors. Look at our real-time ocean forecast system and look at our temperatures.
Okay, this is Weatherman Plus, and I've promoted his stuff for a while now. I remember he was just a small subscriber base. Now he's almost 300,000. So good job. He's a good man. He does really good work. I look at his stuff every day, and for all the stuff that's out there, all the people that are out there, I think he does probably one of the best, if not the best job.
Of the water there, all the way into the Gulf. So as soon as it gets across Florida, it gets out of these temperatures and gets across and gets into these temperatures, it's really going to start strengthening. All this white is all going towards 32, even 33 degrees Celsius. That's 89 degrees Fahrenheit towards 91 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature right here will help it intensify. Euro has even taken it to where we have now up to a 70% chance of a tropical depression to form. And you can see it is trying to form.
All right, so 70% chance now of a tropical depression. A day or two ago, it was like 3% and it increased to 5%. Right now it's 70. All right, so I really think that we're going to see this thing turn into a pretty significant hurricane. I hope not. I pray not. At the end of his shows, he does prayer, and it's very valuable. But direct that prayer, direct your consciousness thoughts to decreasing this potential. But the deep state Bubbas they're in rare form right now. They're really sucking it to us.
Before it goes across Florida. Now, Euro is taking it to where it's going to go inland still and might not recover and come back out. It could just go inland and get pulled away. That's only by the Euro. The rest of them is still showing is going towards the west. You got to remember a couple factors. You can check anywhere on the internet for any kind of information or ask any meteorologist. When it comes to deterministic models, the Euro, the GFS, these models are not very accurate and very good with water temperatures. Now, even though we have an NVEST right now, we have a little bit of information, but we don't have access to the hurricane forecast system models just yet. And the Euro is agreeing with this outcome, that it would go right towards inland in 48 hours and just be nothing and maybe go further to the west, maybe just disappear in 48 hours altogether. That is not the forecast, everyone, so I do not believe it. Now you can see.
So before the show, I got off another show, and it looked like it's going across Florida, right? There's people saying that it's hammering Orlando. Orlando's getting hammered. Lightning storms and so forth. So with the lightning storms and significant rainfall, that sounds to me like this is strengthening even as it goes over land. So as you see this model here going into New Orleans, if it's strengthening over land with a lot of, because we saw the same thing with a lot of lightning strikes, which seem to be getting hit by some kind of energy weapon in Texas. And it seems like they're doing the same thing as this thing goes across Florida. So that's going to strengthen it across Florida, across land. And then it's going to hit that Gulf and these deep warm water temperatures. The models aren't predicting that yet. So we're going to see this thing probably kick up. And, maybe they're coming out with this. It's not, don't worry, it's not going to strengthen, it's going to go north. And they do this all the time when they want to make this thing devastating, because it'll get to the point where it's, hours away from New Orleans, a major devastating hurricane, and people won't have the time to get out of there. So I'm not saying get out of New Orleans yet. You got to trust your own intuition. I'm not saying get ready for it. You should, if you're living in the Gulf Coast, you should have supplies already. You should probably have wood and all that stuff to batten down the hatches. In Florida, we got metal. It's like use it every time there's a storm, and it's like several of them a year. So you put metal, you have like slides where you slide the metal in, slides in, and you lock it down, and then you leave, or you get through it. So a lot of places they just have a plywood and they just like drill it into the side of the house, so cover the windows. But whatever you do, you're gonna have to trust your own intuition, and I would say be ready for an E&E route, escape and evasion route. You should already have that. There's already escape and evasion routes, but you don't want to get on those at the last minute when everybody else is getting on them, because you won't get away.
Okay, this is another one we have access to, and the control number in the purple plus the average in the black shows that this will make that little west-northwest track, but it will end up in the northeastern Gulf as we go next day or two. Now, that is a forecast, not going into Georgia and disappearing. That's what the Euro is seeing. Also, still showing that that is the trend, everybody. But this is going to go right towards Mississippi or Louisiana, either as a tropical depression or a tropical storm. From what I can see, as far as a hurricane, right now that's off the table. I don't see this going all the way further towards the west. I'm showing that the high pressure will weaken down, it will steer it to the north. And when that jet stream comes through, it's going to pull it away. Latest intensity guidance that we do have, you can see it right here, that literally in the next 48 hours, it would be still a tropical depression trying to be this right here, the northeast quadrant of the Gulf, showing it will intensify as it goes through the warmer waters and still become that tropical storm going towards Louisiana or Mississippi. Now, in this scenario, we have multiple threats. They will affect Alabama and the Florida Panhandle on this as well as it goes inland after that. Now, look at a few other models. Look at the Canadian model showing this is big and broad as you go through Wednesday. And Wednesday night, it starts strengthening up right before landfall for Louisiana and Mississippi. Now, that's
what I see this thing doing. And they've done this many times. So everybody's like, it's just a tropical storm. Let's go to sleep. And then it comes in a major hurricane.
Trend, everyone. This is going to be rather weak. Tropical depression maybe status as this goes further along the northern Gulf until the central northern Gulf. Then it's going to go inland, maybe intensify right before inland. This is showing something very weak, still showing a tropical depression. Now, when you go by the Euro model, look at the latest outcome, everybody. All right, so there's lots of different, they're going to just like bounce this thing around, literally bounce it around in there. Will they have the ultimate destination as New Orleans, like I've been predicting for several months? I don't know. It's like I said, consciousness can have a effect on this stuff. So we'll see how this thing works out. Unfortunately, it's going to be tight, down to the wire. This thing is probably going to be heading across Florida today, tonight, and then it'll be in the Gulf of America Tuesday. Where will it strengthen there with a deep warm water, or will it just peter around and just come in as a tropical depression? Right? We'll see. So they'll be ready. Be ready, right? All right. We're looking at Trump is basically saying that he's going to send more arms to Ukraine. That's not something that the American people want. So I don't know what the play here is. The beginning of the end. Tariffs to eliminate income taxes. Of course, we have Trump doing that. I don't want to see that. I want to see war expansion. Zelensky threatens strikes on Russia. How's he going to do that? The U.S. is going to give him missiles, right? So come on, Trump, what are you doing here? Now, is this? I think this is possibly Trump is going to say, well, I've been trying to do peace, but he knows there's not going to be peace. But he says, I've been trying to work with Putin, and he won't work with me. And meanwhile, Putin is destroying the Nazi army in Ukraine. And all the people that, unfortunately, they have conscripted. 15 million people have left Ukraine and gone into Europe and America.
So it is those that were smart ran early, maybe kind of like New Orleans. So we'll see. But this is something that is not something the American people want to fund and help. So is Trump going to? Because I think what's happening right now is Russia is about to do a very, very massive push and take up a lot of real estate in Ukraine. And if Trump, makes this comment that, yeah, look, I sent all this extra, NATO's buying it, of course, but I sent all of the Nazis are buying it. So I sent all this, equipment that they bought to them so they could use. And it still wasn't effective. So you can't blame me. I tried to get peace. I tried to give them weapons, but still they get devastated. So is it that? I think so. All right. So and will it have an effect? It hasn't yet. All the military supplies, all the Humpty Dumpty, all the King's men, have not been able to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So Zelensky is not going to. It doesn't matter how much they throw at this. Now Germany is talking conscription for this war. The Nazis of Germany finally have gotten into places of power again, and now they're pushing. Do the people of Germany want to get conscripted for a possible war with Russia? Which Russia said, we don't care. We want you guys to buy our gas that you blew up the pipeline. So you want us, if you want to know the pipeline, you build it. You make sure it stays operational, and we'll give you the gas. How about that? And then you don't have to go to the war with us. So this is insanity, Nazi insanity, guys. It's very frustrating. Deep state is, like I said, full bore mode in our face, and Trump is trying to do a balancing act with it. So until they get taken down completely. Supreme Court allows Trump to resume education department layoffs. This is another thing that President Trump promised the American people, that he would take this entirely corrupt education department and pretty much do away with it. And so we're moving in that direction. No one likes it. The Democrats love it, of course, because it's a control system that they need to brainwash children of the future. And it's not working out. It's not working out at all. So the Supreme Court was like, yeah, Trump daddy, he can get rid of that thing. But he can't completely. He can do a lot of work getting rid of it. But I think eventually the Congress, because Congress made it, so Congress has to kill it. And I think we're going to see a massive red wave. And I've not predicted this. There's been a lot of people that have said massive red wave. After Trump got elected, they were like, massive red wave. And I said, nope, not going to happen. And it didn't. And then the next election cycle, 2020, 2018 was a dud. 2020, massive red wave. That's so, people are like, oh, it's I'm good. Trump's going to win. I don't have to worry. And then Trump lost. So again, not a massive wave. What happened in 2022? Massive red wave. And it wasn't, because they cheat every friggin' time. The American people want a massive red wave, yes, not a rhino red wave, of course, but massive red wave to take down this corrupt Luciferian constitution breaking, evil Democrat Party. God, how many times? It's so frustrating. So it's going to continue. But I believe that we will this time have a massive red wave, and that's because we've learned we need to get out there. We need to vote. We need to get people registered. We need to make sure the Democrats don't cheat. And if we do that, there will be, and I believe very clearly, a massive red wave on a level that's going to stun the world, right? So that's coming, and that will give us the power, the righteous, God-loving power to basically destroy the Luciferian Democrat Party and the rhinos, right? So sounds like a better world, doesn't it? All right, it's coming. Just be patient, right? Be patient, but be vigilant. And, it's going to happen. So Lara Trump is basically saying that, Big Daddy is, getting ready to release some Epstein evidence. He heard from the people. Of course he did. And she says that President Trump hears the base on this issue. So they're basically extending this out. I think it's very, very surgical how they're doing this. And now he's bringing in his daughter-in-law, and she's basically saying,
I think that there needs to be more transparency on this. And I think that will happen. I mean, look, I don't know what truly exists there, but I know that this is something that's important to the president as well. He does want transparency on all these fronts, everything we're talking about, because it's frustrated him as well. He sat for 4 years as the rest of us did, and saw lie after lie for our country just being sent down the wrong path. And it was really frightening and very upsetting to a lot of people to see. And I would actually say over the past 10 years, we've all kind of endured this. Prior to that, it was probably happening, Benny, but we just weren't as aware of it. It wasn't until Donald Trump came down that golden escalator that he just kind of blew the door with everything, and people started to wake up and realize, wait a minute, things are not as they have always been presented to us. And I do believe that you see that. Now, as it relates to the president, I know that this is probably not his number one thing he's focused on. He's focused on a lot of other important things. We've got this big announcement with Russia going on. I think as we're speaking right now at the White House, we have, a Middle East. We're trying to get peace over there. We're trying to make sure that Iran's nuclear arsenal is obviously completely decimated. We want to make sure everything is on the right track for this country. Fortunately, you see no border crossings in the last month. 0, by the way. I think that's incredible. No one's talking about that enough. 0 illegal border crossings in the month of June. Amazing how that's all gone. So I don't know that this was top of mind for him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all the consternation out there. And I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So,
all right. So it all seems lovely, doesn't it? So you have the beautiful Trump children come out and say, it's okay. We're going to make this right. But in the meantime, there are problems. There are problems out there. We're going to bring up some more of those. And, we try and stay positive through the evil that these people are trying to foist upon us. And for the most part, I think it's happening. So Democrats must toughen up against Trump. Obama tells donors. All right. So who are these donors? Who are these billionaires and millionaires that are supporting this obviously corrupt person? So now he makes this comment, and I'm like, what? It's going to require a little bit less navel gazing. What is that? Right? And a little less whining and being in fetal positions. And it's going to require Democrats to just toughen up. Never happened. Mr. Obama said at a fundraiser for the Democrat National Committee at the home of Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey. Remember, Governor Phil Murphy really pushed that vaccination hard. He came after a gym owner, and he just threw everything at the gym owner. He even showed up at this gym because his gym owner was like, F you. It's like still keeping people working out, and they tried to shut him down. He like broke through the door. God, this guy was amazing. And even Phil Murphy showed up. What a corrupt POS. Wow. So he's another one of those guys that didn't win his election, and they basically stole it so that he could stay in power because he was such a good little puppet boy, right, for the Democrats. And of course, he's such a good puppet boy, he gets this person that looks like Obama come in and make these comments, right? Housing market is sending a stark warning to U.S. economy. Moody's economist says, and I say it like that because it's like, you guys, really? So they're saying home sales have been depressed over the last few years. Oh, I thought they were up. So I thought they were only been down like maybe the last month or two. Oh, for the last few years. Well, that's almost the whole time that it's been going up, but okay. As high prices and interest rates have made the market too expensive for many buyers. For the same reason, homeowners with ultra-low mortgage rates have also found little incentive to move. And so home sales, home building, and even house prices are set to slump. No, they're not set to slump. They're set to collapse. And they're blaming it on mortgage rates. Unless mortgage rates decline materially, it won't matter. This thing is going to collapse. They're looking for something to blame it on. Powell and Trump tried to make it right, but they wouldn't listen. All right. So, all right, we're getting close to stock market collapse, and here's evidence. I'm going to share several things with you right now. So the SPX, S&P 500, as you guys can see, it goes down, it goes up, it hits this line, bounces a little bit, actually goes a little bit higher, and then goes down significantly, and then bounces around at the bottom, and then goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, up, and then bounce around. Remember that one big down we had back in April? Yeah, crypto went down hard too. So, and now you see that gappy, that little gappy, that's not good. Gaps have to be filled, and they have to be filled soon. So it's heading for that line again. And we know what happens when it hits the line. Now, will it go even higher and bump its head on this even higher line? It remains to be seen. But regardless, we're close to the end of this thing, guys. There's lots of charts that are showing it. Here's BTC putting in one of the bigger shooting star candles in a while. I yawn at this. Basically, I said it was going to go up to 125, maybe 130, 135 at the most. And here it is, starting to bump up against that line in the sand, but it can go higher. And usually it does. But we're getting to the point where Bitcoin only goes up so much. If you go all the way back in time when Bitcoin was a little baby and it was like $1, and then it went up to $200, and it got a little pullback, which the Bitcoinage likes to do. It likes to fake everybody out, and then it goes higher. So it went up like over 1,000%. And I like crypto coins to go up 1,000% or more, right? So I've made a lot of money on crypto. I've been a millionaire many times on crypto and then lost it, right? Then made it again even more. So the thing is not to hodl, guys, for so long, because if you hodl, then those gains never get realized, right? So I know a lot of you guys are probably sitting on some crypto. You guys know that when it started going down this last time back in November, maybe even into March or some time frame like that, is when I was like, I'm out. To get out of crypto. So it's done its thing. Now it's going to do a little bit of a run again, but I tell you, I'm like nice and calm. I'm peaceful. I'm not getting up in the middle of the night and checking my crypto numbers. Right? So I have nice peaceful sleeps because I'm in silver. Because silver is going to do what crypto has been doing. It's going to be a generational upswing. All right. So let's look at the charts. Let's look at the charts of Bitcoin and go back in time. Let's go back in time. Let's see why this is reaching the end. Right. So here's crypto. All right, I'm about to stretch it out. So as you see right now, it's doing that thing that it does when it reaches all-time high, and then it pulls back and it goes way low. Right. So we're seeing look how crypto did this little top, and then it pulled back, and then it went up. So we can go back in time. We can see where it does this over and over again. See the last one? It goes up, and then it goes down, and it goes up, and then it goes down, way down. All right, but what happens now, guys, is when it goes down and it goes back up, percentage-wise, it's not going up that 1,000% anymore. Because if you go back to this last low, which was around 16 thou, all right, you're like, well, it's up around 123 now. So what is that? It's not even the 10x. It's not even a 10x, right? So in the past, it's gone on, like I said, 1,000. That's 1,000. So it's gone up, several hundred. Now, if you go back in this one, you go all the way back to the low part. It's 3,460, and then it did that little thing where it goes boop, and everybody's like, yay, and then it goes down, and everybody goes, oh, and then it goes back up again for the last little pump. Went up to 67. So it 20x. So now it's only 10xing. You see the pattern I'm trying to show you guys? So if we continue to go back every time that it does this boom, bang, boom, it gets less and less and less and less. So we go all way, way back when it was a little baby. Like I said, it was $1. I really have. I'm not going to make it that. Well, okay, I'll make it that small. Geez, it's going to take a lot of work here. You're going to make me work, right? Going to make me work. Look how that. Woo, boom. But that's nothing compared. If you go back to like in here, right? See 16,000, and it was 405. So you get massive pumps and then dumps. And let's see if I can get the other one. See, that doesn't look as big as this, does it? But it's more percentage wise, because this is way back when it was a little baby and it was like $1, and it went up to 1,000. That's 1,000%, right? Uppage, actually 1,200. So it's insane, what it was doing back then. And then it went down. So it went up to 1,200, and then it went down to 200, right? Those hodlers are like the hodlers that have been there when it was $1 back in, what was it, 2012, something like that. So they've been hodling for 13 years, and they're like, "Look, I'm rich. I'm super, super rich." It's like I hope you sold some of that during that time frame, because I'm in and out of this stuff and doing a lot of things with that money. What have you been doing? You've been hodling. So a lot of people just hodl this stuff and they just talk about their riches. But there have been many people that have become multi crypto millionaires, and that is good, because that means they've realized their profits, right? Unless they're multi millionaires in crypto still, right? So we're reaching a point. See how it's already starting to pull back a little bit. All right, so it's up to the high today was 123. Right now it's 118. Is this the pullback? Was that the high? Because I said it was going to be 125, and I'd be kind of bummed that it didn't at least hit 125 for a pullback. So it's back like 5,000. That's nothing. It's just a little pullback. And who knows? Maybe tomorrow Trump says there's no more Fed, and then everything collapses except for silver and gold. Right? So that's what I'm trying to get at. That's what I believe. Something's afoot. Something, I feel it. Intuition radar is going out. All right. So maybe it's nothing this time. Maybe it's bouncing off like a deep state bubble, and it's like, you're just a false positive. I thought we were gonna get rid of you guys, but no, not yet. Okay. So it's not when. I mean, it's not if, it's when, right? So I get things backwards like that sometimes. I get ahead of myself. So let's look at Cash Jordan as things get a little hairy in some areas. So this could be an impetus for things to get crazy too. All right. So Trump locks down California. Cities empty as migrants banned from entering. Now, one of the reasons I think they started bringing in these migrants is because the birth rate for America is going down. And whenever that happens, the economy goes down. Because you need, anytime there's a lot of people, we had, during my generation, we had a massive, all of the veterans came home and they, had a good time with their wives. And a lot of them, because they were happy to be alive. And so they made a lot of babies. And so we had a big boom in babies. And that is starting to peter out. that is starting to peter out. So it's not as many babies being born, and those of us of my generation are starting to move on to the twilight, make the transition, right? I still got a lot. I still got a lot left. I'm only halfway through my life, I believe. I've seen myself over 120. So, but a lot of the downturn in throughout history, whether it be through plagues, whether it be through war, and there's a downturn in the population, that's usually a death for that government. Now, this time I think is different because we have AI. It's going to replace all those babies with workers. All right. So, and then those babies, because there's less of them, they're going to spend their crypto because they're going to cash it out right now and make a profit. But those that hold it will wake up the next day and there won't be any more. So, and then they'll hodl. It's like it'll come back. Probably not for a long time, but do what you got to do, right? I know a lot of you crypto people get really ridiculous with it. I just come in, make money, and just get out, right? So good for you, right? I hope it works out. So this is getting crazy in these cities. So I think they brought in the migrants basically to up the birth rate. So, and Trump is like, get out. No, you're not coming in. And those of you that are here illegally are going to get out. And we're going to make you get out. Especially you guys are baddies, because you're going to kill the people that are here, and you're going to destroy the people's livelihood that are here, so that the evil Democrats can get in power. We're not going to let that happen. Right? Not going to let that happen. But in the meantime, Democrats are going to try and make it happen.
Migrants facing prosecution to California. DHS officials say they will no longer return migrants facing prosecution to California. Orders are Tom Homan cites the state's no-bail policies and refusal to honor ICE detainers as the reason for the change.
You heard that right. President Trump just blocked all federal flights that would take illegal immigrants arrested in America and return them to California to face charges. And although it was once commonplace to have illegal criminals face justice at the city and state level for heinous acts committed throughout our country, defiant sanctuary cities now release these violent offenders as soon as they show up to court. And the plan now is to have criminals like this deported immediately.
So if you're ICE or Border Patrol, and you have reason to believe that the criminal alien that you have just detained will never see the inside of a courtroom, why would you give him back to a city or a system that could not hold him in the first place?
There's a lot of criminals and a lot of them.
They're not. They're deporting them straight away because the Democrats want these people. They want the numbers. They want the numbers for votes. They want the numbers for jobs that they're stealing from the rightful citizens. That is because they pay them less and blah, blah, on and on. We've talked about all these things. So now what we're doing, our Trump administration is doing, they're just deporting them. And now that's really getting them angry. So now they're getting violent. They're getting violent. And they brought out guns at basically this one California place where they were growing weed or whatever. Now, here's where we're going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. I've had a person on my show in the past. It is on Rumble. It does not exist here anywhere on YouTube because it would not be allowed. But this guy came on, and he had used adrenochrome, and he saw into the future, and he had seen demonic spirits and all kind of crazy stuff. Pretty wacky story. But he said there are these people that use this, right? So we've talked about this quite a bit. Adrenochrome uses, right? And it's one of the things they use it for, to make connection with demonic spirits and also to see what's going on in the future. So he talked about how he was literally working in a California marijuana farm. And I forget what his status was, whether he was picker, whether he was part of security, whatever he was doing. But he talked about how these illegal Mexican children are whether Mexican, whether from South America, whatever, they would come in. And the people that were controlling them were like, I don't know, like drug dealers or something, or like, some of these criminal gangs, whatever. And they would talk to them. So this one kid, he said, came up to him, and because he said he was going into town, and this one kid came up and hugged him like he wanted to go to town with him. These kids were being used as slaves, right? And he's like, and one of the Mexican guys that was like controlling them was saying stuff to the kid. This guy didn't know the language, so basically the kid reluctantly let go. And he said over time, these kids started to disappear. And then he found out that basically they were being organ harvested, right? So, and that got him in some trouble. And so he had to flee for his life. But that's what these guys do. They bring in these kids in this California drug farm, weed farm, which had like 200 or 300 people working on it, had a lot of children working there. So they work the children as slaves until they find a organ match, and then they disappear, right? So this is some of the things that they're trying to stop, guys. I can tell you this, but they can't tell you this, and obviously the corrupt media is not going to tell you this, right? It's just pretty tragic. So when you see ICE doing their job, you should be thankful, and not like Democrats that are like trying to stop them from doing their job, so they stop children being used as slaves and organ harvested, right? Some evil Democrats, guys. And a lot of people that are protecting us are just dumbed down, think they're doing the right thing, right? Very frustrating. Very frustrating, right? You just want to slap some sense in people sometimes, but that doesn't work either, unfortunately. Renowned microbiologist, mRNA vaccines destroyed the brains of billions of people. Dr. Susharit Bacardi, like the drink, I guess. I think it's like pronounced Bacti, not Bacardi. See where my mind goes. I don't drink Bacardis anymore, but anyway, sounding the alarm over the long-term damage he's uncovered in the mRNA vaccinated. So I remember all the way back when I said, don't do the vaccines, and people were reporting about people that were doing the vaccines and how they're lining up. There were whole buildings in New York, of course, that were so proud of themselves because they had been chosen to be vaccinated. And this woman was telling me that she was there trying to take care of her parents and get her parents out of there, but they didn't want to leave. And so people are like lined up, and they're like, "Are you going to get vaccinated?" They're all excited, and she's like, "That's stupid." And they were like, "What?" All these people got vaccinated, right? And I don't know. Sometimes I want to look at Charles Darwin and say, well, he had some points that were right. Of course, I don't think any of it's right, but I think it was like disinformation, changing what is truly happening. Darwin, Newton, all that stuff is like bullshit. So billions of people whose brains have been destroyed by COVID shots, he's saying. Billions. Like McDonald's. We serve billions and billions. That's the people that served up the mRNA shot, right? We've served billions and billions. And now billions and billions of brains are going bye-bye, right? So maybe that's why these Democrats go crazy, cray-cray, right? Because their brains are fried from vaccination. I think so. We're seeing, I'm afraid to say, billions of people whose brains are not working anymore, not as they should be. They are altered. Sounds like a lot of Democrat states, right? And they don't have the willpower anymore. They don't have the intelligence anymore. This is not the first time Bhakti has raised alarm about the genetic shots. It's not the first time. All right. So I know you guys are dying to, well, not all of you have gotten the vaccination, so maybe not all of you are dying to, but many of you are wondering what this guy has to say. So I will share that after this pure baking soda.
Drinking warm water before bed fixes tooth and gum problems overnight. People are
there you go.
And repairing damaged gums.
Skip ad, please.
They sleep by adding one unusual ingredient for a glass of warm water before bed. If you're over 30 and struggling with aching,
Now I just went into another
or cavities, gum disease, and bad breath, then pay close attention. Because on top,
skip ad.
I almost burned my old shoes. That's how sick I was of the pain. Foot pain, knee pain, back pain, nothing worked. Now I'm going to be very honest.
I'm going to be very honest with you. All right, since those ads went out, I will put my own ad out. LifeWave is light for your body. Those of you that have been vaccinated, get the light, get the vaccination out of your body. Choose LifeWave.
I am no longer optimistic anymore. And the reason is very simple. The reason is because I'm afraid that these RNA vaccines, mod RNA vaccines, whatever you want to call them, have already done their job. And what their job has been, this is incredible, was not even known to the parents because they didn't realize what they were doing. But it is what
I think he's being nice. I think they very much knew what they were doing.
I said years ago that the vessels throughout the body are going to be attacked from top to toe. This is something that never happened in any disease. Systemic, meaning the brain, the heart, the liver, everything can be attacked, the vessels. And the trouble is that it's turned out to be true. So this systemic vasculitis leads to destruction of brain cells, obviously. And that is what we are now experiencing. We're seeing, I'm afraid to say, billions of people whose brains are not working, not as they should.
Mush. Brains are mush. So, speaking of mush, I guess I talked about the Democrats too much, so I don't have many viewers anymore. It's okay. The guys that are well informed will hear about this, and they'll come in big numbers and watch this. So that's the way it works. New study: higher than expected fetal losses after mRNA COVID-19 vaccination in early pregnancy. All right, so Dr. Malone is saying this is an extra summary of high quality preprint paper soon to be published. The study, based on population data, documents a higher rate of miscarriages after mRNA COVID-19 vaccination in Israel. I guess they pushed back too late because they really came after the Israelis hard with vaccination. It was very sad. I remember people running and screaming and saying, please help us, but it's too late. Because, well, you know, according to some people, maybe I shouldn't say their name, but some people have said that the people there in Israel have are pretty leftist, right? And they believe a lot of the stuff that the leftists here in the United States, and they're even worse. I can't imagine that, but that's what some people are saying. I feel very sad for the people that are normal, that are there, but is there going to be an awakening process? I don't know. Do you think a mush brain is going to awaken? Maybe, maybe not. So and then of course, you know, like we talked about, you know, birth rate is going down in a lot of these places that were vaccinated, unfortunately. So it goes on to say, I quickly realized after I started working on it that I would have to prioritize it at the neglect of posting here. I got so swept up in it that I didn't even have time to post about my processes, blah, blah, blah. And key findings, women vaccinated in early pregnancy, weeks 8 through 13, had a higher than expected number of fetal losses. So let me show the graph here. I mean, I just lost a son after 31 years. I can't imagine like losing a baby. So it's got to be tragic wherever we lose children at, I'm sure. Women vaccinated in early pregnancy, like I said, dose 1 3.9 more women than per 100, and those three, 1.9 per 100 women. Late pregnancy losses were a big part of the signal. Among all women, 1.1% lost their pregnancy after week 24, compared to 2.7 of women who received dose 1 in early weeks. So that's more than double potential of losing babies. 1.8% of, so not only are, we're having less children because of, I don't know, because that they do these things, but less people are having babies, guys. It's like hardly anybody in my family anymore is having babies. There are some holdouts that are like making up, I think, but for the most part, there's a lot of people in the generation that I was raising that aren't having children, and in their 20s and 30s and so forth, maybe even early 40s. So a lot of them aren't having babies, and those that do, they got the shot, have double the chance of not carrying to term. Right, so it's very, very, yeah. Dr. Malone created the mRNA, absolutely, and now he's trying to make up. He was saying, "Don't get the shot," and or at least that's what he says. He says he made it, and there's other people who are like, he didn't make it. So I guess who knows what's right. But I follow the guy. The guy seems legit. I guess he's on the vaccination board with RFK Jr. and the anti-vaccination board, we should call it. So I think the guy's, fairly legit. We'll see. Sorry you lost, Michael. Thank you. Yes, I try to be strong. You move on with life. But there's still communication to a certain extent with lost ones for a period of time, and maybe even as long as you want. So we still communicate, so it's good. Ghislaine Maxwell is ready to reveal truth of the pedophile client list, say insiders. So why are Republicans blocking her? Who put this out? Was this a Democrat put this out? I don't believe any of this stuff. So it's we talk about this. It's back and forth. Misinformation, disinformation, lies, cheating, stealing, right? And then they're gone. That's the way it's going to be. Maxwell, 63, is the only person left behind bars, serving 20 years on child sex trafficking charges, despite the fact that pedophile Jeffrey Epstein allegedly controlled a web of underage girls. Allegedly? Really? There's no allegedly here. Who wrote this bullshit? Caroline Graham, you should be ashamed of yourself. Who puppets you? God. Now, a source said, despite the rumors, Ghislaine was never offered any kind of plea deal. She wasn't offered one. Poor thing. Poor thing. She would be more than happy to sit before Congress and tell her story for freedom. Yeah, I don't know. So did the Mossad say she could do that? Or MI6 say she could do that? Or CIA says she could do that? I wouldn't trust them if I were her, but that's me. I know them. I know them maybe a little bit better than she does, evidently. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Stay in the love vibration. Trust your intuition. Your intuition is, everyone has it. Do you know how to use it? We'll see. All right. Lots of love. See you guys next time.